If you all are ready, let's get started swatching dupes. Our first dupe is Vanilla Skies from Looxi. I'm going to put on the screen which shade in the palette this is a dupe for. It's a fantastic inner corner highlight or for blending other shades into your skin. Chlorophyll from Copacetic is our next one. This is such a beautiful green matte. For the third shade, we have Looxi's Splash, which looked so similar to the swatches available on Beauty Bay website for this specific shade. This shade is also super different. Splash has a shift of silver to a shift of teal, and it's such a special shade. For our next shade, I picked Smoky Brown from Glam Shop. Such a beautiful, nice, medium-toned brown. You can probably see a lot of glitters on my hand. It's kind of difficult to get rid of all the glitters with makeup remover. Another option for this shade is Peanut Butter from Looxi, depending on whether you want a warmer tone or a cooler toned. For this particular shade, this one is a warmer tone option. And I thought a lot of you might already have this option in your collection because as we know, there's some stuff happening with Looxi and getting your hand on this shade now might be difficult. For our next shade, I picked on a Whimsey, which is a beautiful, beautiful metallic silver shade, and it literally looks like molten metal on my hand. It's gorgeous. Our next dupe is Sea Breeze, which is a light-toned green from Sydney Grace. It's a nice shade for inner corner or for blending other shades into your skin, or even highlighting the brow. Our next dupe is Celebrate, also from Sydney Grace. I've talked plenty about how much I love this color. Such a gorgeous duochrome green to gold. We have Bergamotka from Glam Shop as our next shade. I know Glam Shop frequently has these shades for 49 cents, Euro cents, which honestly is a bargain. Such a beautiful coral matte. And beauties, if you're enjoying these videos, don't forget to give a thumbs up. This helps the algorithm identify that this is a good video and recommend it to other people who might find it interesting. Our next dupe is Liar Liar from Colourpop. This is one of Colourpop's single shadows. Such a beautiful shade. It's a very light pink with a silver sheen, shimmer. Next dupe is also from Looxi. This is Violicious, which is a beautiful, beautiful sort of a magenta burgundy. I'm going to show you another dupe of this just in case you don't have this shade. Another option for this shade, if you want something a little bit more brown, is Chestnut from Terra. This is a beautiful deep reddish brown. Or you can use Reverie from Terra if you want to do more purple. Chestnut, which is a color that I just showed from Terra, can also be used as a dupe for the other browns in the palette that I'm going to swatch soon. They're in the third and the fourth row. Next dupe is Beam Me Up, also from Colourpop. All the Colourpop shades I've used for this palette are actual single shadows. They're not from a pre-made palette. And this is such a beautiful light lavender, light blue shade. Even if you don't want to use it for this palette, if you want to pick up a single from Colourpop, I highly recommend this shade. Such a unique shade. If you want to use a more special shade instead of Beam Me Up, Tombak from Glam Shop is a great alternative. In the palette, this shade looks more like Beam Me Up and kind of bluey, but in the swatches, it looks more like Tombak, although the two shades don't really look like each other. Our next shade is a light blue matte, and for this shade, I picked Moonlight Matte, also from Colourpop. I think this shade might also be in a Colourpop palette, but I have the individual single shadow version. Next shade in the palette looks like a very general reddish orange shimmer, but I chose to pick a special shade here because there was the opportunity. This one is Turbo Snap from Glam Shop. You should be able to see the coral base with a beautiful bluey, purpley glaze on top. This is such a special shade. Also, beauties, I did make at least 2 looks with this palette and 2 to buy or not to buys. I'll link both of them below in the description box. I chose Blood Moon, also from Looxi, as a dupe for our next shade. You can also use Chestnut from Terra that I already showed a swatch of as a dupe of an earlier shade. Instead of this one, if you want to do a deeper matte instead of a brick orange. Shade looked like a beautiful shimmery teal, and for this one I picked Spruce, which is one of Clionadh's circular pans. Concrete Road from Sydney Grace is our next dupe. Such a beautiful light-toned gray shade. Toucan from Glaminatrix in the pan looked identical to this next shade, which is why I picked it as the dupe. For our next dupe, I picked Bingo from Glam Shop. For this one, you could also use Chestnut from Terra if you wanted a deeper, sort of a reddish brown shade. For our next dupe, I picked Cherry, also from Glam Shop. It's a burgundy shimmer that looks like it has tiny gold flecks throughout. And our last dupe is Lay Low, a beautiful light peach, also from Colourpop. Beauties, if you enjoyed these kinds of videos, consider subscribing for more similar videos. I have a whole playlist for these duping videos that should be recommended on the screen about now. Have an amazing day, and until next time, bye!